Hey girl.
Hey mama.
Ready to get unschooled?
Totally.
Welcome to Moms Unschooled,
where we break down all the things from the mundane to the magnificent, so you can think for yourself and do what's right for you.
Hey Erin.
Hey Sarah. I need to let it all out there right now. I'm going to have to tell on myself. I hope somebody out there is with me. I feel like I can't keep this to myself any longer, y'all.
Let's hear it. It sounds really serious.
It's serious because I think I'm going to get blown up about this. And when I mean blown up, I mean like how many comments am I going to hear about people who are mad at me for saying this? Are you all ready?
Yes.
I hate the elf on a shelf.
I fully support that. And
What?
I'm glad you talk about it on Moms Unschooled because I've never done it. It's one of those things you, quote, should be doing because you're a mom category, and that I'm trying to walk away from and make more of my own choices. So I fully support your desire to not do Elf on the Shelf.
I knew we were friends.
Yep. That's really how you should pick your friends when you first meet people. Do you do Elf on the Shelf? What's another one? Like where you could just easily weed out people who are not your mom friends.
Do you drink on weekdays? That means you are my friend, by the way.
I've always gone back to like, did they ever watch or like Seinfeld? And then that's kind of how I make that decision. But okay.
I like it.
All right. So tell me, what brought about these feelings, and are you going to do Elf on the Shelf this year?
Well, for one, we are just on the cusp of the Christmas season. We just finished Thanksgiving. But I've already heard so many families' elves have already made an appearance. And so, boom, mom pressure from my kids. When's our elf going to show up? When's our elf going to show up? His name's Poe, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and reference that. If I say Poe instead of elf, you know who I'm talking about. So yes, we do Elf on the Shelf. So I've told on myself. I've told you how much I hate it. And yes, we do it. It all started in 2012 when my daughter was just a wee little baby. She was about to turn 1 the next month, and my mother brought me Elf on the Shelf. Hi, Mom. I thought it was the cutest idea. A little book and the elf that comes with it. And as we grew as a family, as the years progressed, this thing is taking over my life.
Where does he stay? He's just in storage, right, during the rest of the year?
Well, he has to be cleverly hidden because he can't be in with the rest of the Christmas decorations. They want to help you decorate for Christmas. What if they pop out Poe and boom, it's spoiled? Then I am a bad mom. I've ruined Christmas. So you have to strategically place these elves for 11 months out of the year.
That's my problem with it, is that you are now associated with, quote, ruining Christmas if this little elf randomly, I don't know. That's just the problem I have with it all, is you don't need Elf on the Shelf to have a special Christmas.
Yes.
And if you like it and your whole family likes it, I think that's great. But if you're feeling like you're feeling, I don't see how it could be any fun.
It's not. It's so much pressure. I mean, like we didn't have enough to do during the Christmas season. We have one more task to do every single night. And if I forget to move that elf, can you imagine the tsunami of repercussions that are going to smack me in the face the next morning when those kids wake up?
So you have 3 kids. So is there a reward for who finds it? Like, are they into it as a competition?
Not really, because that's some of the other reasons I need to talk to you about why I hate Elf on the Shelf so much. It can't be where is he hiding, because I have to strategically place this dude where they can't touch him. Because the whole idea is they're not allowed to touch him or his power goes away and he can't go back and tell Santa, right?
Oh,
so
I didn't know that about
all
him.
of these other families, and don't get me wrong, y'all, if you have Pinterest boards about 25 clever ways to position your elf on the shelf, I look at those. I think they're clever and brilliant and totally jealous that works for your family. But to leave him on the floor in front of his salt drawing of your family because he's made a mess on the carpet, that never would fly in my family. Somebody is going to touch it. My number 3, the third child, is going to touch it and ruin Christmas. He has to be up high. So there's only about 4 places he can be.
Well, I was also concerned about the dog because I know, if I tried to draw something in a bunch of salt or sugar or whatever, the dog would come by at night, lick it all up, digest part of the Elf on the Shelf, and I wonder how many veterinarians have had to,
bits of Poe?
Yeah. Poe or other elves.
I know there's some Sunnies out there, Sunshine, Noel, all kinds of beautiful names for these little dudes who enter our lives for an entire month out of every year and put so much mom pressure on us. And you know what? Like, yes, I've told you, I hate the elf on the shelf. It ain't going anywhere. It's not like I'm about to go home and purge this thing out of my Christmas season for my kids. I just need you people to listen so I can get this off my chest.
Do you start it December 1st?
Oh, well, I'm already getting pressured because of COVID. Christmas trees are being decorated at such an earlier date than normal. You know, I was an adamant, you enjoy Thanksgiving and the next day, Black Friday is a great day to put up the Christmas tree because I celebrate one season, one holiday to the next. Well, this year, because no one has anything else to do with their lives and nothing to look forward to, Christmas trees were going up near Veterans Day weekend, which means, hooray, the elves on the shelves are coming at an earlier date as well. So yes, my kids are already like, where's the book, Mom? Where's the book? So-and-so's elf has already shown up. Is Poe ever going to get here, Mom? And it's not even December 1st.
So they know you hide it. Or like, what do they think?
No, they know I have the book.
Okay.
And you have to read the book before the elf shows up.
Gotcha.
Mom has been filling their days so much in the past couple days. First of all, because I have to find out where I put the book last year because I forget. And so I have to keep them busy so they're not asking for it at night until I'm ready to pull the book out and start the whole process over again this year.
This sounds way too stressful.
I think I'm like hyperventilating. My blood pressure is rising just talking about it. So, I mean, we have this cute idea of this elf showing up. But first of all, it's kind of creepy to think about this thing can look at you all day long and judge you.
Is that what it's supposed to do?
Well, yeah, it's sitting there and it goes back to report to Santa every night to see if you've been naughty or nice.
Okay.
I thought Santa already knew if you were naughty or nice.
Well, that's what elves hang around for, to tell. They're basically big tattletales.
Exactly. So we are excited to see this tattletale show up every morning in a new place. And the one time that I decided to get creative, I went on the Pinterest boards to see, what clever thing can I do for the elf this year that my kids are going to think it's completely awesome and memorable. I found the one picture, I know y'all have seen it, where your elf is in the Barbie car and Barbie's driving and they're sitting in the Barbie convertible and life is good, right? I put it up on my counter so it was eye level when they woke up the next morning. Number 3, we've already addressed this child, grabs the elf out of the car like it's a doll, because that's what it is. And the other 2 gasp. Poe and his power! So I immediately scoop up, and I mean, the acting skills are on fire at this point, y'all. Like, I have to scoop this pretend doll elf up into my hands, and the only thing I can think of is to put it in the freezer. Because...
Is it in your freezer right now?
No, but not right now because I can't find it.
Oh, this is last year.
No, this was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
So the one time I was clever, it ended in devastation because I picked this doll up and put it in the freezer because my whole thought process is, okay, the elves are from the North Pole. The magic is in the cold. Maybe he gains his powers again sitting in my refrigerator freezer.
I think that's incredible critical right there.
Thank you. So we immediately go to, Chick-fil-A because I just have to get out of the house and think. And while they're strapped in after we come home, I leave them in the car strapped in their seats so they can't go anywhere, and I pull this thing out of my freezer and hide it again so they all know, oh look, Poe's magic is back, he's been re-energized in our freezer.
And you had to wait for it to defrost and it was probably all wet.
Mama had a glass of wine that night. So you've got this creepy thing, and Santa already knows if you've been naughty or nice. And the moving it. Have I told you that my daughter cries every Christmas morning?
You did, and this was my problem with it after you told me that, and this was also when I offered to throw it in your bonfire on your patio. And you looked a little shocked, but the fact
because I can't get rid of it.
Because the fact that I pictured your daughter crying on Christmas because that was the last time she was seeing him all year really upset me. Because your daughter's a very perceptive, thoughtful person and
compassionate.
Yes.
And so yes, before she opens gifts on Christmas morning, she sheds a couple tears because she's not going to see her elf till next, December 1. It's more than I can take, y'all. Is it going anywhere? Nope. It sure is not.
But why not? It's great fun for your kids. But this is what I'm saying about what do you, quote, think you should be doing because a good mom does Elf on the Shelf, and what is in your category of this is what I'm doing because it's important and meaningful to my family. So where is your elf right now? Kind of right in the middle of those two categories.
I do it because I have to at this this point. I have dug this hole for myself.
But you're in charge. If you really wanted to, we could grill it tonight.
We could, but I'm way too passive aggressive for that. I would just rather complain about it at this point.
Okay, that's fine too.
Because the problem with this elf at this point is, if it just goes away, where did their Christmas magic go? My kids are firm believers in Santa, and you know what? You guys can agree or disagree with me, but I love the magic that the ideal of this gift-giving, magical character gives them, this sense of wonder for Christmas. And do I pound Santa into their heads? Do I pound Elf on the Shelf in their heads? No. Does it help me remind them that Christmas is about giving, that the magic of Christmas, the spirit of Christmas is how we choose to live? You know, do you want to be a part of the spirit of Christmas? And Santa wants to be a part of Christmas magic.
Right.
So let's be a part of that. I've already dug my hole with the elf. My problem now with this thing is, if it falls off the shelf and, you know, lands on the carpet right in front of their eyes, do they just forget believing in all Christmas magic altogether? So now I feel like this level of pressure. My girlfriend says she has a 5th grader and her elf came already, blah, blah, blah.
Thanks, Karen.
Yeah. Oh my. You know who you are. Her elf showed up and the kids were so excited because there was salt and their names were written in salt all over the carpet.
Whoa.
And they knew it couldn't have been Mom because Mom doesn't make messes. So it's almost like this elf is having her 5th grader hold on.
Okay.
And Mom would never make messes, so I have to believe this is definitely happening right now. But how long can that last? And I feel like instead of pushing it even farther over the line, my goal is to start pulling it back a little bit.
Okay.
So it will still show up.
Okay.
But maybe it doesn't show up in a different spot every night. I love the idea of the quarantining elves, y'all. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm highly considering it. It's part of the reason I haven't read the book yet. I'm still pondering how I'm going forward this year. But just pull that back and make a concerted effort to talk about the Christmas magic.
So I have 2 questions for you. Is this a duty you could just assign your husband, the hiding of the elf? And 2, what could you replace him with as he maybe he just gets stuck in the move?
Ooh, good one. Well, the quarantining is definitely helping me get through another year. I mean, if you think about it, if he has to quarantine for 2 weeks, then he goes back to Santa one time, I'm good to go at that point. So, I mean, I like what y'all are doing out there. I see your Facebook posts. I know what you're doing. My husband loves hiding it when he thinks about it, and he is pretty clever about it. But when I wake up with a cold sweat at 4 a.m. and think, did you move the elf?
Okay, that's the problem. Because the fact that you're waking up in the middle of the night with the thought of, similar to like, oh my gosh, I locked my kid in the car or something like that. So what is a good rationale for why an elf did not move? Like, how could you explain that?
Oh, well, that has happened to me before. I have forgotten.
So what do you do?
I told them we must have been too restless in the night. Mama went to bed late, got up early in the morning. There were so many kids in and out of bed for bathrooms and water refill, water bottle refills, or somebody needed to cuddle in Mom's bed. We were up too much activity that night for him to be able to move.
And how did they respond to that?
It was okay.
Okay.
I can get away with it a couple times.
Okay.
But I also like the idea of, we've talked about in our last episode, Santa has so many kids in the world to bring gifts to. Let's hope he brings us one gift we're really looking forward to receiving so he can spread the wealth, so he can get out there to all of those children in the world. I think maybe one day, and this is what I've been pondering, the elf is going to need to go to a new family who's never had an elf before, and we can write letters to Poe, whatever. But one day he's just going to need to go on to the next family.
I love that idea.
I don't have the nerve to do it yet, but I'm pondering it because I need to start pulling it back more so than pushing it forward. These families that have multiple elves, my palms are starting to sweat just thinking about it.
Wait, why multiple elves? One per child?
One per child. I know of a family with 2 children. They have 2 elves that show up now. I kid you not, there is a family, an acquaintance family I know that posted that their 4 children's 4 elves just showed up. It gives me cold sweats just thinking about it.
Oh, I'd need a bigger bonfire for, but I could make that happen too.
I can't find enough hiding places for 1, let alone 4. And so I can't push it forward. And trust me, y'all, my kids are putting the pressure on. I wonder if Poe's going to end up coming and bringing a friend this year. You know, I had 2 boys and a daughter.
All right.
Now my daughter's thinking, I wonder if a girl elf will show up with Poe this year. The answer is no, but they can always wonder.
Okay, you're right on the brink here of the point of no return. So we got to scale this back. What if Poe comes every morning with like a good deed they have to do? Maybe they won't like him.
I love that.
And so that way, they're also learning that magic of this in different ways. And maybe they'll get tired of him by December 17th.
Come on, dude. Your to-do list is taxing us.
Yeah, like make hot cocoa for your mom. Actually, I love this idea. Maybe I'll order one, but I won't. Won't be Elf on the Shelf.
You can't read the book then, because the book gives you explicit directions.
Get out of here. Write your own book. I mean, give me a break. These kids don't know, right? So make up your own Moms Unschooled Elf on the Shelf version of what you want the elf to do for your family. Who cares if they touch him?
I think I'm going to write a book, you've got me onto something here, about the way your elf just doesn't show up this year. You know, it had to go to the next family. Or Sarah accidentally burned yours in a bonfire. We could write a book to actually get this thing to never show up again.
Or they could write a book. They can make a picture story or book about all the good deeds they did that the elf assigned them. And then at the end of the season, you'd have 30 days of all the wonderful things they did.
That's precious. As much tasking as this thing has done for me, I could totally get on board with finding something in terms of the giving spirit that Poe brings for them to do daily.
Yes.
Our elf has actually followed us on week-long trips during the Christmas season and hidden in the hotel room every night. A sweet little elf.
Okay, 2020 is definitely to say he's not allowed to travel like that. Santa has put a ban on all elf traveling, so he's not allowed to.
I love it. The quarantining is going to work for me here.
Okay. How did he get his name Poe?
My daughter was 11 months old when he showed up. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea is when your elf shows up, you name him. Well, she didn't talk till she was 3. And so at 11 months old, it was kind of just the first syllable she babbled. That day, when I asked her, she just kind of babbled Poe, and it sure did stick.
Well, Miss Erin, if you decide to do Poe this year, I hope you're doing it for the right reasons and for the joy of your family.
I support all those elves out there, but man alive, it is not my love language. It is not my strong suit in motherhood.
And that's okay.
And you know if you're with me.
And we'll see if Poe makes it from the North Pole this year. Thanks for listening to Moms Unschooled.
Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, or email us at momsunschooled@gmail.com. Juicy!